This is Beyond the Veil with Norman Meredith.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Veil with me, your host, Norman Meredith, and co-host, Ed Lease, and producer.
How you doing out there? Hello.
How's it going tonight, Ed?
It's going great.
Well, how you been lately?
I've been all right. And, you know, everything's happening. Things happen for a reason.
I got you.
Heartbreak and joy all at the same time.
Who broke your heart?
Nobody. Not yet.
Well,
Waiting on it, though.
You know, I've got the proper equipment to take care of this from another postal district if necessary.
Oh, I hear you. And I've seen some of those pictures that you sent me recently of your armory. And, you know, it's one of those things. Yeah, it's just one of those things.
All right, we're going to talk about some cryptids of Rhode Island tonight.
Absolutely. We got some pictures up here. Cryptids of Rhode Island.
That there one is an interesting creature. It is called the Gloucester Ghoul, first seen in 1833, documented by the pirate Albert Hicks in Gloucester.
Mm-hmm.
This creature reportedly had eyes full of fire, massive scales, and horns. It was said to smell of burning wool and appeared while searching for Captain Kidd's treasure. You know, it got me thinking, maybe this is a story or a hoax as a means to stay away from Captain Kidd's treasure?
Could be, actually. You know, that makes sense. You make up a little bit of lore around, you know, what's going on. And
yeah, because I got another one up there too,
like
following it. Let's see, show up next.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, this is another example of the alleged Gloucester Ghoul. And see, the only time it was ever seen was around 1833. But the story still remains about this creature with eyes of fire, smelling of burning wool. You know, it sounded like to me what could have possibly did in order to turn off possible pirate or treasure hunters is you get yourself a lamb, douse it with a little bit of kerosene, throw a torch to it, and you've got a creature of burning wool and flames of eyes of fire.
Hey, whatever you got to do. Is this the same one? It's like,
yes, that's another one. Because you notice it's sitting on top of a pirate's chest.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that would, maybe it was a ram they used. Because look at those horns on this.
Could be. Bill. I mean, you know, you got to protect it. You got to keep that booty intact.
Definitely. And this sounds like it's a very good possibility that this was a story and it was manufactured by the pirates to prevent treasure hunters, and then they just did a little bit of hocus pocus with little tricks here and there to make it seem like there was a creature running around out there protecting this treasure and that there was truth to this creature's credibility being there.
Authenticity.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Ed?
I don't know, man. You know, I always got to be a skeptic when it comes to things like this. And, you know, I say that just because I try to come from like the natural, but I don't know everything. It could be, you know, flying. It's like, well, a flying mammal. Well, yeah, you know, there's bats and, you know, like furry things. What's that? What's that one dinosaur that was like furry that flew?
Oh, one of the flying reptiles. I can't think of it.
I don't know. But I mean,
Thunderbird.
You know, those were legitimate. So, you know, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Or it could be a cousin of the one from down in New Jersey.
That's true. That's the one we did the other week.
And we talked about it. We just briefly mentioned something about one of those. But, you know, I'm thinking this was more or less something set up to prevent treasure hunters as a story. And that certain guardians would play tricks on potential treasure hunters by throwing out something to scare off folks like that.
You know, put out some fake news and, you know, maybe see how far it goes.
Yeah. All right, let's bring up the next critter that we're going to talk about, and this is the Loch Ness Monster. Not to be concerned with the Loch Ness Monster. It's a sea serpent reportedly sighted in the waters around Block Island.
Okay.
Now, what's interesting is, what do you notice about the shape?
Looks like a snake.
Exactly. And what was one of the prime things we've been discussing lately when we've talked about sea serpents around some of these states here is that they could be giant snakes that have not been categorized.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know there's sea snakes out there.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
it's very possible that some of these get brought up from the deep, dark depths because of maybe a storm or something brings them up. Change in food supply brings them up, and this is what we're starting. This is why we see these occasionally over the years, washing up on the shores,
Right.
or off in the distance, is because their natural hunting area has been disturbed in some way, shape, or form, or some incident at sea, something happened, and they get washed up on shore. And like I say, this serpent idea, I think, is going back to the fact this is an uncategorized species of sea snake that we just haven't been able to categorize yet because we haven't been able to catch a live specimen. Now, if you notice, we've got another picture besides the skeleton. This is one of the alleged serpents. Now, this one, if I recall, the Japanese pulled it out of the Sea of Japan. But this was also supposed to be resembling the similar creature that was off Rhode Island. That's why I have it here, is because there's supposed to be it's supposed to be similar. But this looks like a plesiosaur, if I'm saying the right creature, because you look at the long fins to the front for its legs or forearms, the long neck, and that body. But it's not the serpent snake that we just seen. But this is also one of an alleged critter that's supposed to be considered the Loch Ness monster.
Okay.
And then I believe we've got one more after this. This here's an alleged drawing, and it's got that famous Loch Ness monster head, the whiskers or feelers, as you might want to call them, and it's given it nice sea green color, so it looks like it's part of the sea. So what do you think about that there, Ed?
I mean, is it Loch Ness monster? Is it like a Loch Ness monster? Does Loch Ness, is it really like the that one dinosaur that's swimming in there, or is it just a snake and the hump that's behind it? Do you think it's like a body, but it's really just a snake?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think,
who knows?
In some cases, I think it's like the snake, because look at this. And go back to that picture.
Right.
If you notice, it's got the hump there. Mm-hmm. It's one of two things: either it's part of the coil of a serpent, or other chances it could be like the hump, like say a brontosaurus.
Yeah, like his back,
right?
Like the back area,
spine. Like a brontosaurus will have a very pronounced hump on its back, but then you'd have to add the flippers and the long head, and what you got is a floating sea monster. And then the lung capacity on that thing would have to be freaking phenomenal in order to stay underwater, unless it's a amphibian that can breathe both air and water.
It's possible.
Yeah. Anything's possible nowadays.
That's right.
All right. What else is New England states famous for?
So we got some kind of crazy looking, almost a Labrador looking.
Yeah. Demon dogs.
Demon dog.
The demon dog of Fort Witherville. Spectral dogs rumored to haunt the Jamestown Fort area. Now, that's always amazing because dogs have always been prevalent in English folklore and mysteries as being spectral guardians, spectral evil.
Right.
And New England states, there's a lot of folks that have English ancestry.
Exactly. And what I I'm not trying to take over here or anything, but what I wanted to add was you look back on a lot of the English people, their last name, their coat of arms, because a lot of them have it, like royalty, sub-royalty. Yeah. Like we have a coat of arms.
I do too.
And, sometimes they'll have a dog on it. Yeah. Or what do they have on either side of their staircase? They have a dog or like a lion.
Yeah.
That's out there. So it's very
interesting.
Well, it's very English.
Yes. My coat of arms has a, I think, a lion or a griffin on it.
I thought yours had a Sasquatch on it.
No.
It needs to.
It should. Really. That and a saucer on it, too. Flying saucer with Bigfoot being beamed up.
Or Bigfoot flying the flying saucer.
There's a funny joke that Bigfoot's actually an
anthropomorphic?
That type of person that studies cultures.
Anthropologist?
Anthropologist.
I think they study like the human body.
No, I thought they studied cultures.
I don't know.
Well, supposedly he's a scientist from another race that came here in a flying saucer, and the reason he's in Harry is because he's a natural person, so he doesn't need the spacesuit on while running around here because he's getting photosynthesis from the sun through his hair, and he's basically running around in his birthday suit while doing recordings and research on the human population.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good theory. Probably not, though.
Yeah, but he has been associated with flying saucers.
Well, you have another devil dog. That's over here.
Yeah, that's a good expression of a spectral dog.
You sure that one's not Russian? That one looks like he's from Chernobyl.
Hey, there are rumors of
Oh, I believe it.
some radioactive dogs that have some mutations.
Oh, 2 heads.
Not officially, I don't know about that. I'd have to look a little deeper in that, but there's always a possibility of things because it's amazing what our government or governments and private people or agencies or organizations would cover up from us knowing the truth.
100%. Well, what do you know about this one?
Which one? I don't know much about that one. It's just
Generally, the devil dog lore.
well, here's what I got. Okay, I do
lore
have
and legend.
I do have a little bit of information on this one.
All right.
I was actually able to find it, believe it or not. The demon dog of Fort Witherill, excuse my folks if I'm pronouncing this wrong, in Jamestown, Rhode Island, is a local legend often described as a wolf-like spectral canine apparition that haunts the ruined World War II era coastal fortifications. Visitors and ghost hunters report hearing deep growls and witnessing this dark omen, which is frequently cited in local hauntings. Excuse me. The Island Park sea monster is reportedly unidentified from a 2000-era Rhode Island local legend detailed in a Channel 12 news segment about a couple's terrifying encounter at Teddy's Beach, Portsmouth. Witnesses described a large white and black scaling creature with a basketball-sized head, fangs, and a loud hissing water-shooting behavior. Key details of the park's... Wait a minute, that's a different creature. I'm sorry, that's a different creature. No, but...
I'm calling the cops.
That's another creature I'll cover in a minute. The demon dog was just reported at that the location. But, interesting enough, when I was reading up on the Fort Witherill in Jamestown, there's been some murders committed there. But I didn't go in depth about how many or how often there were, but there have been some unsolved murders that were committed on that property.
Okay.
And so that adds a little more mystery to what's going on there and who or what did it. All right, let's move on to our next one. This next bit is for this Island Park sea monster.
Yeah, this one right here is, I've seen this before elsewhere.
I think this is supposed to be the Island Park sea monster because this is what it came up with, Hook Island. And what it details is the encounters Rachel Carney. The Island Park sea monster is reportedly unidentified creature from 2000-era Rhode Island. Local legends detailed in Channel 12 news segment about a couple's terrifying encounter at Teddy's Beach, Portsmouth. Witnesses described a large white and black scaling creature with a basketball-sized head, fangs, and loud hissing, water-shooting behavior. That sounds like a snake. A giant snake. Key details of the Island Park sea monster sightings. The encounter, Rachel Carney described a large white creature with a basketball-shaped, fanged-faced, thick-scaled body that swam around her, rubbed against her legs while swimming in Portsmouth. The sighting, her fiancé, Dennis Vascolonis, observed the creature behaving aggressively, noting it had a blackish green top, white belly, and made definite hissing sounds while chasing them. The local phenomenon, the incident is documented by reporter Sean Daly of the Park Portsmouth something or another. And then the culture impact, the story was humorous and scary to locals who often remembered it as Mother Ocean segment. And let's see. Okay, that's about it. That's what's kind of... But, you know, what that sounds like to me, and looking at that head, it's a giant sea serpent. It's a snake.
Either a
Giant
snake, sea serpent, or I was like, maybe that's some kind of like weird school of fish that got thinned out, or an oil slick, or
But look at that
I
head.
don't know,
But
yeah.
the top of the head, it looks like a snake looking down, like a pit viper.
Could you imagine that would eat you whole?
Yes. I mean, to me, looking at it from top down, it looks like a giant pit viper in the water.
Yeah.
And the way he's describing it sounds like a typical snake with the differential colors on top, the darker colors, and then the whiter bottom underneath.
And just look at that dude out there in the boat. Like, everything's fine.
Yeah. No problems. I can keep going.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Now, this supposedly, like I said, this creature allegedly exists in the Portsmouth area. And then the last one, it's just, I couldn't, oh yeah, here's another alleged photo of or drawing of the alleged monster.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might have one more, do I?
We got this right after.
Oh, we'll go into that in a minute. Let's go back to the picture. But this is an alleged drawing of what's supposed to be the inland sea monster.
Okay.
But once again, we're going back. We're between a sea snake and a plesiosaur. I'm gonna make sure I'm saying the right one, right creature. But you understand what I'm trying to get at, folks. People are trying to describe two different things, and like I say, every observer is going to see something different because of how they see things, how they describe, how they can see colors. Because not everybody can see the same color. Believe it or not, we have different shades of color blindness, and how they're viewing it from what angle, how the light's hitting it. Everything's always going to be subject to.
It's up for interpretation.
Exactly.
Everything is subjective to the beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Now this next one, bring up that bug.
All right, here you go.
Now I couldn't find nothing on this thing except it's known as the big blue bug, aka Nibbles Woodway. While technically a giant mascot for a pest control company in Providence, Rhode Island, it is jokingly referred to as Rhode Island's most famous cryptid. So I think this one's more or less a joke because I couldn't find nothing on it. Bring up the next slide.
There's no giant beetle or anything.
I could not find anything on it. I think this is more just a prank or something they just want to say is being a joke for it. And this is a pest control.
It's like a marketing feature.
Yeah. And Rhode Island's proud of it.
And they should be.
That's their I guess that's their state cryptid is the big blue beetle or big blue bug. And it just showed up and I thought it was kind of cute and funny, and we're just going to name it just bring it up in reference to the fact that the state claims it, whether it's actual possible cryptid or they're just claiming in jest as part of a marketing ploy or PR ploy to bring people into the state.
Is what it is, and maybe it'll sell some
Pest
pest
control
extermination thing.
Yeah.
Like Dale Gribble from King of the Hill.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what do you think about some of this stuff tonight, Ed?
It's wild, man. Some of it's possible.
I'm going to have to do a little research between the underwater serpents, and we'll do that as a sideshow so we can show the difference between a sea serpent and the giant brutes that are similar to plesiosaurs.
We're always a sideshow.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Definitely.
Can't have it any other way.
We'll do that next week.
Cool.
That way we're on track with what we're trying to say or what I'm trying to butcher. All right, folks, we're going to sign off from Pickens tonight with this episode and look forward to our next bonus episode where we're going to talk about the Bridgewater Triangle.
Bye.
Bye, folks. I'm sorry. My mind froze.
It's all good.